Hey, it's Tony here. It is the end of January. I'm standing in the hoop house, obviously, and I'm only going to be in here for a little while because we're heading towards midday and it is going to get stonkingly hot in here very soon. But I did want to take you on a little tour of the garden because we're doing a lot of harvesting at the moment, and I really just wanted to get a picture of what the food forest is looking like before we start stripping more of the fruit off the trees. We've had a lot of plums from the front of the house already, and the birds are helping themselves to a huge amount of the grapes that are ripe at the moment, and we still can't eat them as fast as they're eating them, so we really don't mind sharing. But I would like to show you what the peach trees are looking like and how lush everything is before we start chopping things back and pulling things off the trees. So let's go and take a look. And my hibiscus cuttings are doing really well, and my rosemary cuttings are coming along, so always good to take cuttings and see what you can get to grow because free plants, yay! My old favourite, the plantain, has just about come to the end of her useful life, but she has provided me with an amazing number of seed stalks, so I'm sure that she will be back, and you'll see our old favourite dandelion hanging out in the back there in amongst some of the beautiful banana peppers that are growing. I have got some eggplants coming along nicely, and I still can't believe that some of these red cabbage are hanging in here and not bolting, but we'll see how they go, even as hot as it's getting in here at the moment. And I think we're on our third lot of butter beans down here, so I've just put those in because we can plant those every 2 weeks at the moment, which is really great. Been gifted some beautiful peppers here from a lovely friend, and they grow amazingly long, and I've decided now I've been harvesting them when they're green, but I've decided now I'm going to leave a few on here just to see what colour they go, so this will be a fascinating experiment. I've potatoes now here that have died down and are ready to be dug out, so I'll be taking to those at the weekend. The Freyja is coming along beautifully. We had some real problems with pests here last year, but I think at the moment we have got so many blackbirds tearing in and out of here after the grapes that between them and the ladybirds that came, we don't seem to have any pest problems here this year, which is wonderful. Got some beautiful sunflowers that are coming along. My corn's not done as well as I would like. My corns and my beans in here. My three sisters have not been brilliant, but we've got a little bit of corn, so maybe we'll just see what happens. I've never done brilliantly with corn, but I am learning. That's often what a garden is all about. And we've got more potatoes down here that are later than the first ones, so they're coming along nicely. We've got some lovely yarrow flowers down here that I'll be harvesting very soon. As I said, it's nearly midday, so the girls are hanging in their favourite space underneath the apple tree. They spend quite a lot of time down here when the weather is hot. We have girls who are molting, so there's all kinds of fun and feathers and things happening around here. And the girls are just such an integral part of the garden. It's wonderful to be sharing all the produce and all the wonderful things that are growing with them, because I can tell you they're helping make wonderful things grow as well. Then as we come out past the apple tree, this is where things start to get interesting, because I can no longer get up my garden path because of the number of peaches that are coming off this lovely peach tree here. And underneath the peach tree you'll see we've got a guild of all kinds of different things happening, and we've got a pumpkin that is creeping its way up around the back of the garden here, which we don't mind. We've got some beans that are growing up into the olive tree, which is fun to see. I love these beans. They're a very old flat bean and they are really, really nice. Lovely to eat as flat pods, but these guys have been left now to go to seeds. I've got some more seed for next year. I love saving my own seed, and more sunflowers. They're taking their time to come out, but they're coming along, and as you can see, more yarrow down here. And I think we've got a little bit of fennel going to seed here, so we'll save some of these fennel seeds. The girls love the fennel fronds, and of course these are bringing beneficial insects into the garden the whole time. But you know, I simply cannot get through this path anymore. I've given up trying to get through here, so I'll be taking these peaches this weekend and we will be bottling them. You can see that the tree goes all the way up to the back fence there, and they're wonderful, what do they call them? Loose stone, or the peach comes off the stone really easily, and they grow down the river. They're a very old peach, and they were brought many years ago to New Zealand, and the stones wash down the river, and then the peaches just start growing again. And they're a great bottling variety because they all come ready at the same time. So it will be a big bottling weekend because we've got them further down the section as well, and I'm hoping that maybe those might not be quite so far on as these ones, and we won't have to pick every single peach out of the entire garden. It's too hot in the day now, but I've been really thrilled how my evening primrose have been going. These open obviously in the evening, and they bring lots of butterflies and bumblebees and all sorts of things. And what we've got happening down here now is these amazing little seed pods, which when they dry up, I'll be taking the seeds out of them, because you can use the seeds like poppy seeds in your baking and things like that. So there's a lot of nutrition in these, so we will be having evening primrose seeds on a lot of things. These are just amazing in the late afternoon or early in the morning when the flowers are out, but the sun just scorches them. And this has been a 2-year operation. These are a biennial, and so it's been really great having them do what they do. And I will leave it, obviously a few seeds will fall into this guild under the pear tree here, which is growing really, really well. You can see how high the pear tree is. We've got pears right up the top here, right up the top there. Luckily we have a wonderful picking bucket on the end of a pole, so we'll be able to pick them unless they fall by themselves. And it's been really great to see how things have been going in the garden. We've got a pineapple in the middle there that takes my eye out every time I try and get in that part of the garden. But basically this whole area here is filled with all kinds of herbs. The comfrey's growing beautifully down here, and the chickens have a good chew on that in the morning. They've got comfrey stations all over the garden, as they've got drinking stations all over the garden too. We've got some beautiful mint geranium growing down here. I pull this and put it inside the chicken coop for the girls, just growing by the side of the chicken coop. Makes the coop smell beautiful. This does have lovely flowers on it when it flowers. And under the comfrey here we have got a little tree that I grew from seed, and of course because I'm filming the name's escaping me, so I'll pop it in when I remember. And also we've got a variegated something else that's escaping me because I just can't remember anything when I'm filming. So what I have to do now, instead of going straight up the path as I would where the peach tree is leaning over, I come down the side of this lovely almost heart-shaped guild under the pear tree and pop through the little gap here. And what we have up here is a beautiful old variety of sweet pea, which has got such pretty flowers, and it's creating little seeds, and it was given to me by a friend, and it's lovely that it's growing up here. It's giving the girls a lot of shade from the sun, and growing frantically in the chicken house is hops, which I've never grown before, and I'm so excited about how they're growing. You can see there's lots of passion vine hoppers in here as well, which we have trouble with, but these are just such beautiful little hop flowers. I think they're really pretty. and it's quite prickly when you walk by the plant. And then we get these beautiful little hops growing, and I think that they are so special. You can see them growing there. I'm really in love with these little hops, and I will dry them and use them for relaxing, not for making beer because I don't drink, but they're just so pretty, and I'm just thrilled. With how they're growing. So as we sneak in under through the little side patch, we come to another pear, another bunch of pears as we come through. So it's about ducking and diving your way through. And then I've got some more potatoes up in these beds, and more peaches. I really brought you out here to show you the peaches, and so that I can get a record of them for myself, because they're just beautiful. Amazing number of peaches that we have growing here this year. I'm very thrilled with them. And then we've just got a little herbal border running alongside the chickens. You can see they're not much into silver beet by the monster silver beet that's growing in there, that they're not eating, but that's fine. I just harvest it and blanch it and pop it in the freezer so it doesn't go to waste. And we've got our bits and pieces growing down here in our little herbal lake by the side of the chickens. And I eventually got around to transplanting the fig, so we will see how it does here. Got more comfrey across the back there that is growing madly. A piece of paper that blew out of the compost last night. And you can see that the bees are doing really well. We've done a bit of harvesting of some honey, so we've got about 5 kilos of honey out of that little hive. Out of this little hive here. We took about 5 kilos of honey at the weekend. It's ahead of these two hives, because these two hives, they both swarmed, and this hive is a result of a swarm from this hive here. And so these bees, this colony has been very sort of focused on producing honey for itself, because it started with nothing. And these two hives are just a little bit behind in capping their honey, because they were very focused on reproducing. So eventually we will get honey out of this hive here and this hive here, and my plan as we move to autumn is to combine this hive back in with one of these two hives. I'm not sure which one yet, because I don't want 3 hives, I only want 2 hives. So one of these queens, whoever is producing the least out of these 2 hives here, will be recombined with this hive here. So we'll see how that goes. That's the plan, but as I say, the best laid plans of mice and men and me sometimes don't work out that way, but that's how it is. And we have dealt with the banana palms. We have chopped them away from the fence, but these are very strong bananas. We had a lovely bunch of bananas off a banana palm that was far too close to the fence, and we had to pull it back. So we've now pulled all of our banana palms back from the fence. And if I take you down in here so you can see what's going on back here, these little pups just keep growing. They're amazing. So there's another one here. I keep chopping these back because we don't really want them pushing this fence over anymore. You can see the bow in the fence here, but it's a beautiful little plantation of bananas. And my job now is just to manage these little pups. So I just come out here once a week and just take to the pups. I cut them out sometimes and give them to other people. And we're just going to make sure now that we don't have any pups that come past this line here. So that one and the one behind it, and possibly these ones down here will have to come out. And we're trying to encourage the whole circle to continue to grow this way, which it is doing because there's some new ones coming through here. And we've got some berries growing at the back of the beehives here, and some grapes just covering the water tank. So this is a new grapevine. I wasn't expecting much of it, but it's growing a few things, which is good. So you can see as we come back down the path this way that there is very little chance that I can remotely get through what is usually my pathway. We've got a few things growing in these beds at the back here, doing their thing, long-term crops that I don't need to get to very often. And as we pop back down through here, we can see how lush, how much growth there has been in the garden over the summer. Just such a busy time of the year, and it is a beautiful day, so it's a lovely time just to film what's going on, how things are growing. And it's normally Pirate that joins me in the garden, but Freyja's decided today that she might come out and say hello. Hello, Freyja. Yeah, you're coming out. It's okay, it's just a chicken. Hi. You're coming out in the garden. What? Come on then. Hmm? Where are you going? I've got some Chinese artichokes that I'm growing in an old recycling tub. And I'm keeping them in here because I thought I got them all out last year, but I obviously didn't. And this is what happens with these kind of things. If you miss removing the tiniest little bit of a piece of artichoke, then you just get more growing. So I'm going to be fascinated to see how many we get out of this bucket at the end of the year when they are all ready. So we're waiting for the foliage to die back, and then we can have a dig around and see what, how many and what kind of artichokes we've got coming out of here. And this is fun. This is a volunteer couple of tomatoes. Actually, it's more than two. I've actually dug a couple out of here and planted them in the back of the garden. But when we cleared the spot where the banana was, there's a shaft of sunlight that's gotten in here, and this is what's appeared. So nature doing her thing, nature deciding where is the best place for things to grow in the garden. So I've left them here, and we will see what kind of tomatoes we get. The comfrey's growing great guns underneath the deceased orange tree, and I've taken some of the deceased orange tree wood out, but I'm still not sure what I'm going to do in this space here, so I'm having a think about it, other than having put the fig in there to see how the fig goes. I figured that the fig would be fine here because it will create some shade for the bees in the summer, and it will lose its leaves in winter, which means that the bees will get the sun that they need in the winter. But we shall see what prevails. I'm tempted to put mint down here in this space just to create some greenery on this, effectively on this forest floor, but it looks like some of the herbs are doing that for me, starting in the corner over here and beside this bucket, which is catching water off the edge of the chicken house. And also there is a self-seeded herb growing down there. I like to leave some of this space here because I need the space to work the bees, but I'm still open to doing something like putting mint or something down here. It doesn't really matter if it rampages a bit, and it means that it won't rampage into the neighbours, but we'll see how things go. Here's a lovely bumby coming for some of the flowers that the chickens don't get. The chickens adore the comfrey flowers. Not only do they adore the comfrey itself, but they just go berserk for eating the flowers. So the only chance that the bees get is if the flowers are high enough that the chickens can't jump and steal them. And even then, the chickens have worked out that if they stand on the foliage, they can drag the flowers down like they've done here, and they can get to them. But they're obviously not keen to get this close to the beehive down here at the moment, so they haven't taken those. But look at this. So the ramshackle path back up past the chickens. I have these little flowers along the edge here because it's very dry under the house, and I just don't like looking at the bricks, and it's nice to be able to see some flowers from the inside of the house. It's a little spot I do spend some time sitting in. It's in the shade at the moment, which is really lovely, and it's nice just to sit here, contemplate the garden, as overgrown as some people might find it. I love it. I find it amazing what you can achieve in a very small suburban back garden if you decide that this is what you want to do. So there we have it. Just wanted to record the abundance before these all go, and of course once a fruit goes, this branch will lift itself back up again, and I will have access to my pathway to be able to get down this side of the garden again. So there you have it. I hope you are having a most wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Sending you many blessings from our abundant backyard.